saying I lobbied our producers.
That was pretty cool.
For another episode of Red Alert. We used to do it all on the fly all the time, so we needed to make it relevant again because our creative team spent so much time and energy making that thing so good.
I thought it was only for October.
You know what? I see what you're saying, and you can also put a Phillies tie in there, but that's a different segment for a different network also in this building. Guys, it is relevant though because there are a lot of things going on in the National that could be cause for concern. So shall we start with our first Red Alert? So we have different levels of concern. You guys understand the scale, so we'll just get right to it. We're going to take you out to the gateway to the West. The Blues making coaching changes. Craig Berube was obviously let go, the interim head coach from the AHL. Drew Bannister was named his successor. What, Devin Dubnyk, is your level of concern for the St. Louis Blues?
I'm going to go with concern. There is definitely some concern about this team making the playoffs. I think it's a difficult division.
About midway up there.
Difficult conference out west, and you never know. I mean, they've done it before. They have guys in there that were part of the group that started last place in the NHL and ended up winning the Stanley Cup. So they certainly know it can be done. There will be some belief in there. And unfortunately for Berube, he's out. Sometimes you need a new voice, so we'll see if there's a turnaround there. But certainly some concern for me on the Blues making the playoffs.
Yeah, I have a lot of concern on this one. I mean, I'm not sure that this is going to change things dramatically. If you can't play for Craig Berube and you can't get yourself motivated, Drew Bannister is going to have a heck of a time trying to change that. There will always be that little first few games change, but I'm not sure that I'm not sure they're going to be able to change this. I think there's going to have to be some personnel changes before the Blues get there.
You say a lot of concern specifically. How far are we? Is it time to hit the panic button?
I'm not sure the panic button's even going to be. I'm not even sure you're going to get to the panic button.
Wow.
I don't think this is a team compared to others that is. They've been so inconsistent the way they've played. And to find that consistency, I don't think that's something you can just flick a switch and turn it around quickly. And I think it's going to be very difficult for St. Louis to get there.
Guys, both quite concerned about the St. Louis Blues. Moving on here with this edition of Red Alert. I feel like we haven't talked about him a lot lately, and kind of for good reason at times. Alex Ovechkin chasing Wayne Gretzky's record. He is 67 goals shy. We thought at the pace he was moving at in years past that he would have no problem matching that record and probably eclipsing it. So, with the lack of offensive production that we've seen this season, Dave Reed, what is your level of concern?
My level of concern is, I would say, okay, I'll put it at panic. But
You want the panic button?
well, yeah, you can push the panic button if we want. Where's the panic button?
Doesn't work. I don't know why there's not a remote.
I would say
You need to put a battery in this thing.
It's panic in a year or two. We thought he was going to do it in a couple of years. That's panic. Okay, he's not going to get there in a couple of years. He will get there if he's playing till 45. I think he might do it in the new building if he doesn't do it right away. I think
This is 2028. That's a while.
Yeah, but it's one of these players that he's. The organization wants to have the #1 goal scorer of all time in their organization. He scores 15 goals for the next 7 years or whatever we need to get there. He may play that long just if he wants to get it. You see where I'm going here? The panic is that there's no way. If he comes up with 20 this year, the panic is he's not going to get it done in the time frame that we expect him to do it. But I think that as long as he stays healthy and he chips in 15 a year, they're going to keep him there until he doesn't.
And hopefully they do that. There's kind of two sides to this for me. I'm definitely panicked in both of them. Everything Reeder just talked about, it's something that we all want to see. We all want to see him get that record. It's a little panicked that, like you said, I agree with you. I think he'll probably play until he gets it.
5 goals this season.
And hopefully he does. And then I'm a little panicked for the Capitals too. If he doesn't, we know he's going to get going. I mean, he's probably going to end up with 35, 40, and we're all going to come back and
he is streaky.
At this rate, he's on pace for 16.
Well, but he's
he ain't
streaky.
Scoring 16 goals this year. I can promise you that.
He'll go 10 games and have 12 goals.
But for the Washington,
he's a streaky scorer. He always has been. When he gets going, he'll get going. We just haven't seen it.
So I'm also in the present panicked for the Washington Capitals because they're going to have a tough time being successful if he doesn't start to put the puck in the net like we all are used to seeing.
And we saw that the Pens and the Caps were left on the outside looking in last season for the first time in quite some time. It'll be interesting to see how this all pans out. Let's move north of the border to Winnipeg. The Jets were soaring high with Kyle Connor. Where is he? There he is. Real hair on that bobblehead, ladies and gentlemen. Can we get a close-up of that thing?
That's remarkable.
Well, he's now out of the picture. So what is our level of panic with Kyle Connor and that beautiful flow, probably just as good as the bobblehead, missing for up to, if not more than 6 weeks, Dubes?
I'm going full meltdown mode here. This is
Where's the panic button? Where's
LG,
the red alert?
Full meltdown mode. This is a guy who is irreplaceable. These lights are scaring me here. This is a guy that's irreplaceable. He does so much for them. He's such a catalyst offensively. Winnipeg's been playing great. They're a good team. They got a great goalie, but this is just a guy that you just cannot replace. And it's even when he's not scoring, he is creating every single game. I've seen games that he didn't score a goal, that he got 5 or 6 grade A's, and you take that out and you might not have the puck on your stick as much. Winnipeg's gonna have to find a guy to fill his spot, which I don't think you can do. So I would be certainly panic mode. I think it's really important for Winnipeg to get a couple wins here, so they don't feel like the train's off the tracks without him. But it's just because he's an irreplaceable asset for them, and there's nothing they can do about it, unfortunately.
I said many times he's the best kept secret in the National Hockey League in Winnipeg, and you're a Minnesota guy. Right now, you better be ready. If there's a meltdown in Winnipeg, that water from Winnipeg and the snow is melting, it's coming right down to Minnesota.
The land of 1,000 lakes is going to be the land of one lake.
It's going to be one huge lake because get all that snow melting from Winnipeg. I think this is real trouble in Winnipeg. He is a point-a-game guy. He brings you, if not a goal at times, he brings big goals to this team. He's in all the action. Scheifele and he have connected. There's a lot now without him in the line. There's a lot more pressure on the Nick Ehlers, on the Scheifeles to perform. It's one thing when you're taking extra bodies away and you're able to cover this guy, cover that guy. But now all of a sudden, the focus is on fewer players. And when the focus goes to fewer players, it's a lot harder for those players to achieve what you're looking for. I mean, 5 game winners. Now, sometimes that's a skewed stat, but first in goals on the team and in points. I mean, that's huge. He brings offense. And this is a team that's been playing very well defensively. Hellebuyck's been great in net, but they're winning those games because of Kyle Connor. Without him there, I think that he's irreplaceable.
Well, they are third in the Central with 34 points. So they have a little bit of breathing room, but we know how quickly things can change in the National. Guys, speaking of things kind of being flipped on their heads in the National, the Tampa Bay Lightning on the outside looking in, not even in a wild card spot as it stands today. Is it time to panic if you are a fan of the Tampa Bay Lightning?
I don't think you're panicking for the Tampa Bay Lightning.
So what's your level of concern? How far up is that bar going?
Here's how I look at it. Are the Red Wings going to stay there? Is Philadelphia going to stay there?
Patrick Kane looks pretty good.
If you're looking for a wild card. And is Tampa going to creep their way back up? And now, we're not at the halfway point, so my level is not quite. I'm not saying it's crazy panic, but it's I'd be concerned.
I mean, they're technically on the outside looking in.
They are on the outside looking, but
there are 3 teams with 31 points in the National.
Right. All right. So let's go back to that board for a second. We go back to the board, and you can look at the teams that I think someone's gonna come down. So you got the Bruins, Panthers, Maple Leafs. They're in Atlantic Division teams, and you got the Red Wings are up there. So are the Red Wings going to be able to hold that? They haven't proven over the last few years. It's another stage to get to. Then you go to the wild card spot. In the wild card, the Capitals, we just talked to how they could be struggling. The Hurricanes, they're going to end up near the top of the Metro. With the Devils, they're going to jump up. Are the Flyers and Islanders going to be able to hold that spot if they're going to become wild cards? So there's a lot of ifs.
I believe in Torts. Also, look
and
on that
you still
far
got
right
the Penguins
column.
there. I'm not sure if the Penguins are going to be there. And it's so if you're Tampa, that's a heck of a lineup they've got.
It is a heck of a lineup.
With a goaltender, best goaltender in the world.
And coming from a former goaltender, I'm sure Devin Dubnyk has his own say. But look in the column on the far right. A lot of teams have a lot of games
Right.
in hand. They've already played 30 games, so they have some ground to make up if they want to hold on.
True enough. But panic mode is not. I'm not going all out. There's some concern.
We'll put this away.
Yeah, you can hold on.
You can keep that away because I'm going to stay calm on this one. I know there's a lot of things going and there's things going against them with the games played and all that. But to me, this is a team. They're missing Vasilevsky. We're missing him for the vast majority to start the season. And they just got a group of guys. They got, John Cooper's. They do it every year. And they got a great lineup. And they got guys that have been there, done that. And they know, especially look at those teams like, you say the Detroits and the Philadelphias, are they going to stay? I just feel like this is a Tampa team that's so experienced that when it comes into February and March and they're playing, these teams are playing every other day, these guys know how to get it done at those times. And I think they will, with a healthy Vasilevsky, they're going to find their way back into the playoffs.
Now, if you had an injury in there might be a little bit of panic. But right now, right now we're okay.
Speaking of Point, you have Point. You have Kucherov, who is silently, if you're not really paying attention, having an outstanding season, a really great stretch. So it's hard to bet against a team that won back-to-back cups, and they have so much postseason experience. They know what it takes.
And there are teams in the playoffs and ahead of them that don't have that experience.
That is very true.
Games get tighter come February.
Why we all do
Nice
this,
and
and then we're
calm.
all going to find out that we were probably wrong come April.